Hello, all, I'm Marco Beato, researcher, practitioner, sports science consultant. I wanted to present with this video a paper we have recently published in August 2026, has been accepted on the 19th of July 2026. So the title is Off the Ball Behaviors in Elite Football Using Spatiotemporal Tracking Data, a Scope Review. The first author is Francesco, and it's correct to acknowledge him as the leading author because this paper is part of his PhD. So I will try to be quite brief. I don't want to enter in detail in the paper because the paper is quite long. It's a scope review. We work a lot on this paper. We did a lot of uh, analysis, paper reading, work on the results, and analysis of the findings. So it will be too much to try to summarize it in 4 or 5 minutes. So I will introduce the paper, I will introduce some concept, I will show you some of the methods, and briefly I will explain the practical applications. And after, I hope you take the time to read the paper because this is the right way to value the work that has been done. So, starting from off-the-ball behaviors, we can define it as a set of action, including positioning, movement, and decision-making process performed by players without direct possession of the ball. This is the main difference with on the ball and off the ball behavior, as you can see. So this copy review talk only about off the ball behavior. And here you see that, for example, off the ball dynamics represent player active contribution to the organization and function of the team game structure. So it has to be an active contribution. From a technological point of view, how can we have this information? So in the last 15, 20 years, there has been a great evolution of the tracking system. So they can be GPS, but mainly here we talk about the optical video-based system like Trackab, Prozone, or other brands. And the increasing availability of tracking data has fostered two complementary methodology, as you can see here. Pitch control, which quantify how player occupy or influence the space, and ghosting, which estimate their anticipated position. And if you want to know a bit more, there is this paper by Oldhoff and Davis, 2025. Here, some other indication about his off-ball behaviors, because maybe is a concept that is not clear for everybody. So off-ball behaviors represent a particularly dynamics and multi-phase component of the football performance. These span from, for example, attacking, defensive, and transition phases. As you know, football usually is divided when you analyze that from a tactical point of view in offensive action when you have the ball, defensive action when you don't have the ball, and transition that can be positive or negative when you have the ball or when you don't have the ball. And this across multiple levels, ranging from the individual player to diads, to subgroups of players, or the entire team. Okay, so this behavior can examine it from a tactical, physical, and cognitive perspective. It's very important also the cognitive aspect of this analysis. Okay, the introduction will explain you other things, but we go on the aims of the review. First point, this one is a scope review, is not a systematic review. This means we follow the same approach of this of a systematic review. You will see later, I will show you that we use the Prisma guidelines, but it's a scope review. So this means that we don't have enough information to give to practitioner strong indication. We have simply summarized the evidence, summarize what we know so far, and we gave our opinion about limitation and future direction. So the first point is how have off-the-ball behaviors in professional football been investigated across physical and tactical dimensions? Second point, what mathematical and computational methods models have been used to analyze off-the-ball behaviors in physical and tactical dimension? And finally, what are the main challenges and limitations in analyze off-the-ball behavior via spatiotemporal data? So this is what I was saying before. We use the Prisma guidelines that are the same used for systematic review and meta-analysis. In table 2, you have the inclusion and exclusion criteria that are critical for this type of review. You can see the population. We focus only on football, for example. We didn't focus on, we didn't divide for age and gender. So we include everything. And the paper were published in peer-reviewed journal, written in English. Always exclusion criteria are, for example, editorial, commentary, letters, survey, reviews, everything that wasn't the original research. Article not published following the peer-review process and no in English. Here, obviously, you will have all the information regarding the Boolean combinations that we use to select the papers, starting from PubMed, Scopus, Web of Science, and so Discus. And here is the overview of the reviewed studies. Here you find the country, the provider that analyzed the data, and the sampling frequency of the technology. Going down, we go on our flowchart of studies and the selection process. You can see here that we started from this database. We were quite large in our research, so a lot of papers analyzed. After we start to screen everything, and we arrived to 32 papers, as you can see. So in these 32 papers, we base our review on these 32 papers. The great part of this paper has been published after 2020. So we can say that this topic is quite new. And this is why a scoping review is more appropriate than a systematic review in this case, because it's quite recent as topic. We don't have enough information, evidence, so a scoping review was more appropriate. Okay, so I suggest you obviously to read the paper, in particular the table 4, where you find all our results and the analysis of the study selected. The table is quite long, so there is no way that I will be able to explain it in the right way. So to give a bit of value to the paper is also correct that you're going to read it. As I was saying before, it's been published on Science and Medicine in Football. You can find that online. So we jump directly on the main conclusion or practical application. So first point, many of the proposed metrics, such as speech control, dominant region, synchronization, indices, are quite good from a mathematical point of view, has been quite well defined. The main issue is that we didn't find much direct interpretability in terms of training design tactical implementation. So one of the critical points, in our opinion, is that this information needed to translate in something that happened during the training process. If there isn't a practical application, it means that are good information, interesting, but there is something missing. So one of our critical points is future research need to focus on reframing these spatiotemporal outputs into something that is actionable, some actionable constraints. So constraints will mean variable that can be applied to some obviously technical, tactical, physical principle that can have an application into the training environment. So something that change the coaching approach. If we don't find that, it means that are good information, but too much theoretical. And then we have found this gap between the literature and what is the real football world that is very applied. I hope this brief introduction of the paper has been interesting for you. I hope you can find the time to read the paper. And obviously, if you have been happy with the presentation and you want to support the channel, please subscribe to the channel for free. Thank you very much. Have a good day.